On March 18, 1990, two men dressed as police officers entered a Boston museum. But they were not police. 81 minutes later, 13 works of art were gone. No paintings have been recovered. No one has been prosecuted for the theft. And 36 years later, some of the empty frames are still hanging exactly where visitors can see them. The Federal Bureau of Investigation describes the stolen works as worth more than $500 million, making the Gardner theft the largest property crime in United States history. The museum is still offering up to $10 million for information leading to the safe recovery of all 13 objects. But the most disturbing part is not simply how much was stolen, it is what the thieves chose, what they ignored. Where investigators believe some of the artwork traveled afterward, and why after more than 3 decades, the Federal Bureau of Investigation still believes these masterpieces may be out there. Boston, early Sunday morning, March 18, 1990. The city was coming down from St. Patrick's Day celebrations. Inside the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, 2 night guards were on duty. The museum was not simply another gallery. Isabella Stewart Gardner had opened it in 1903 and arranged the collection as a unified artistic environment. Paintings, furniture, sculpture, textiles, architecture. Everything belonged to a larger vision. Then in the early morning darkness, the security buzzer sounded. According to the museum and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the men said they were responding to a disturbance. The guard on duty broke museum protocol and allowed them inside. Within minutes, the supposed officers had taken control. The guards were handcuffed and restrained in separate areas of the basement. No weapon was reported as having been displayed. No panic alarm was activated. No emergency call reached Boston police during the robbery. The thieves had achieved something more valuable than breaking a lock. They had been invited inside. And now the museum belonged to them. The clock had started. They would remain inside for 81 minutes. Motion detectors recorded the thieves moving through the museum. They climbed to the 2nd floor. They entered the Dutch room. And there they began dismantling one of America's great collections. They cut Rembrandt's Christ in the Storm on the Sea of Galilee from its frame. They removed a lady and gentleman in black. They removed Johannes Vermeer's The Concert. They took Govert Flink's landscape with an obelisk. They removed a small Rembrandt self-portrait etching. And they took an ancient Chinese bronze vessel. Elsewhere they took 5 works by Degas. A bronze eagle finial associated with a Napoleonic flag, and from the 1st floor blue room, Edouard Manet's Chez Tortoni, 13 objects. But their choices created questions almost immediately. Why these pieces? Why leave other works behind? Why take a comparatively small bronze object alongside paintings of extraordinary importance? And why remove some paintings so violently from their frames? At approximately 2:45 in the morning, the thieves left, making 2 trips to their vehicle with the stolen objects. The guards remained restrained until police arrived at approximately 8:15 in the morning. The museum was secure again. The masterpieces were not. 2 stolen paintings alone explain why this case became legendary. Rembrandt's Christ in the Storm on the Sea of Galilee, painted in 1633, is his only known painted seascape. Then there is Vermeer's The Concert. The Gardner Museum describes it as one of only 36 known Vermeer paintings. That figure, 36, is the number used by both the museum and the Federal Bureau of Investigation today. The stolen collection also included works by Degas, Manet, and Flink, along with the bronze Chinese vessel and Napoleonic eagle finial. The Federal Bureau of Investigation currently lists the combined value at more than $500 million. You may see modern estimates claiming the collection could be worth $1 billion or more today, That may be conceivable in a hypothetical art market, but there is no authoritative current auction valuation for objects that cannot legally be sold. So for this documentary, we stay with what official sources can support, more than $500 million, and culturally, essentially irreplaceable. Which creates the next mystery. What does a thief do with art this famous? A stolen television can be resold, a stolen watch can disappear into another market. A masterpiece by Vermeer is different. Its identity is the source of its value, and that identity also makes it recognizable. Major stolen works are documented by museums, insurers, law enforcement, dealers, and art databases. The Gardner pieces are included in the Federal Bureau of Investigation's National Stolen Art File, and the theft remains on the Bureau's top 10 art crimes list. That means the thieves may have stolen extraordinary value without stealing something they could safely sell through the legitimate art market. This is one reason stolen masterpieces can move differently from ordinary property. They may be hidden, transferred privately, used inside criminal relationships, held for leverage, or passed to someone who does not fully understand what they possess. Investigators have not publicly established one definitive motive for the Gardner theft. The works vanished from public view, and they have remained there for 36 years. Look closely at what happened inside the museum and the robbery becomes stranger. The thieves did not simply sweep through grabbing the most obviously valuable objects. They made choices. Some of those choices still puzzle investigators and museum experts. They cut paintings from frames. They took the bronze finial. They removed Manet's Chateau Tony from the Blue Room and left its frame in a different area of the museum. The Gardner Museum notes that no one knows why that small painting was removed from its frame or why the empty frame ended up in a security office on the opposite side of the building. Was it haste, confusion, a specific shopping list, different priorities between the two thieves? No conclusive evidence publicly answers those questions. But while the thieves' choices remained mysterious, investigators eventually developed a theory about where some of the art went next. In 2013, the Federal Bureau of Investigation made an unusually specific public announcement. Agents said they believed with a high degree of confidence that, in the years after the theft, the artwork traveled to Connecticut and the Philadelphia region. Investigators also said some of the stolen works had been offered for sale in Philadelphia. But after that point, the trail became uncertain. That was a major development. For years, the public question had been, where did the paintings go? The Federal Bureau of Investigation was effectively saying, we believe we know part of the route. What we do not know is where that route ended. More recently, Federal Bureau of Investigation personnel discussing the investigation said they believe at least some pieces may also have moved through Maine, Connecticut, and possibly mid-Atlantic states, but investigators themselves emphasize uncertainty. Their reconstruction could still be incomplete. The Federal Bureau of Investigation believed it understood part of the journey. It still did not have the art. The two men were never publicly identified through a criminal conviction. That distinction matters. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has developed investigative theories about individuals and criminal networks connected to the theft and movement of the artwork, but no one has been convicted of carrying out the Gardner robbery. In 2013, the Federal Bureau of Investigation announced that it believed it had identified the thieves and described them as connected to a criminal organization operating in New England and the Mid-Atlantic. But investigators did not publicly name them in that announcement. Many names have circulated in books, documentaries, newspapers, and organized crime theories. That does not make every theory fact. The legal line is clear. No individual should be portrayed as the proven thief unless the evidence establishes that status. And decades create another problem. Potential witnesses die, memories fade, relationships change. People who once knew something may no longer understand that an apparently minor event they witnessed was connected to one of the largest art thefts in history, which is why investigators keep asking the public the same question. Have you ever seen one of these objects? This may be the most powerful image in the entire case. The frames are still there, but there is an important correction to a common myth. They are not hanging empty because Isabella Stewart Gardner's will specifically required empty frames to remain on the walls. The museum repaired 5 frames damaged or discarded during the theft and returned them to the galleries as placeholders, as a statement of hope. The paintings might one day come home. The Federal Bureau of Investigation says the museum made the decision to display empty frames in 1994, 4 years after the robbery. That transforms the frames from evidence of absence into something else, a promise, a space that refuses to become permanent. Every visitor who sees them is looking at an unsolved crime scene preserved in plain sight. Not because investigators forgot what belonged there, because everyone remembers. Today, the Gardner Museum offers up to $10 million for information leading directly to the safe return of all 13 stolen works in good condition. The reward is not all or nothing. The museum says portions can be paid for information leading to the recovery of individual works or groups of works. There is also an additional $100,000 reward specifically for information leading to the return of the missing Napoleonic eagle finial. That smaller object matters because investigators do not necessarily need all 13 works to reappear at once. One recovered object could produce provenance, possession history, names, locations, a chain of custody, and potentially a route toward others. In a Federal Bureau of Investigation discussion of the case, investigators and museum security officials described their hope that recovery of one object could create a kind of snowball effect. If someone currently possesses a work without having participated in the original theft, returning it could demonstrate that cooperation is possible. That, in turn, might encourage others to come forward. The Federal Bureau of Investigation currently says its investigation indicates the works were separated after the robbery and could now be anywhere in the world. That creates an important shift in how we imagine the mystery. Do not picture one secret vault containing everything. There may be multiple locations, multiple owners, multiple histories, and perhaps multiple people who do not realize what they possess. 36 years is longer than many careers. Long enough for agents to retire, long enough for witnesses to die, long enough for stolen property to pass from one generation to another. But the Gardner theft remains active. The Federal Bureau of Investigation's current wanted page still asks for public assistance. The museum still maintains its reward, and the empty frames remain visible. That changes the nature of the investigation. In 1990, the question was, who robbed the museum? Today, another question may matter just as much. Who has the art now? Those may not be the same people. And the person capable of solving part of this mystery may not be a criminal mastermind. It could be a relative, an estate executor, a collector, a storage company employee, someone opening a forgotten box, someone seeing an image and realizing they have seen it before. 2 men disguised as police officers entered the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in the early hours of March 18, 1990. A guard broke protocol and admitted them. The thieves restrained both guards. They spent 81 minutes inside. They stole 13 objects. Among them were Vermeer's The Concert, Rembrandt's only painted seascape, works by Degas and Manet, a Chinese bronze vessel, and a Napoleonic eagle finial. The Federal Bureau of Investigation values the stolen collection at more than $500 million. Not one of the 13 objects has been publicly recovered. The investigation remains open. The frames have waited for 36 years, and somewhere perhaps the missing art is still waiting too.